Zohar Parashat Vayiqra. He called to Moses, and God spoke to him from the tent of meeting, saying, Rabbi Chia opened, I have come into my garden, my sister, my bride. I have plucked my myrrh with my spice. I have eaten my honeycomb with my honey. I have drunk my wine with my milk. Eat, companion, drink, and be drunk, lovers. The beginning of this verse does not match its end, nor the end its beginning. It is written, I have eaten my honeycomb with my honey, I have drunk my wine with my milk. And then eat, companions. One who invites another does so when food is set before him. Once he has already eaten, how can he invite another? However, happy are Israel that the Blessed Holy One wished to purify them and desire them from among all other nations. Having desired them, he sought to remove them from all accusers of the world. Come and see, after the sanctuary was built below, on that very day another was erected with it, as is written. The dwelling was erected unspecified. That day was joy of the Blessed Holy One. Once the dwellings were dedicated, what is written, Moses could not come into the tent of meeting. When the Blessed Holy One saw this, he said, Now it was erected by the hand of Moses, yet he is outside. Immediately he called to Moses, saying to him, Moses, how does one dedicate a house? With a meal, as is said, when a person from among you brings an offering to God. I've come into my garden, my sister, my bride. We have already established this verse. But I've come into my garden, the garden of Eden above, my sister, bride, assembly of Israel, for on that day couplings were coupled completely. Couplings were coupled in that garden of Eden, for all of them were blessed by the waterings of the stream, and each one joined his fellow. As is written, I plucked my myrrh with my spice, I've eaten my honeycomb with my honey, I've drunk my wine with my milk. All of them were watered and saturated from the spring of the stream. Eat, companions, drink, and be drunk, lovers, all those below. And all those branches were blessed and nourished when these were blessed above. How are they all blessed and sweetened? By the aroma of the offering. Come and see. When the assembly of Israel descended to make her abode on earth, the Blessed Holy One spoke this verse to her. For blessings and joy appeared in all worlds, and she was sweetened. To exude blessings to all, for when these six are blessed, then all worlds are blessed below and blessed above, and then Israel is blessed from them all. Alternatively, I have come into my garden, my sister bride, Rabbi Yitzhak said, the Blessed Holy One couples with the assembly of Israel only when these six are saturated by the flow of the ceaseless stream. Rabbi Yehuda said, Eat, companions, drink, and be drunk, lovers, all those trumpeters, and howlers, who were all assuaged and blessed as one, for all enjoy the banquet of the king. And when do they all eat? When the king is delighted. Thus the king delights and delights in Machanita first, and afterward they will eat and delight. These six seems to be an indication of the 6 days of the week and the six emotional spheres, starting with Chesed, continuing with Gevura, Tiferes, Netzach, Chayid, Yesod. Malchus is Machanita, the kingdom, the earth, etc. Rabbi Abba said, Eat, companions, drink, and be drunk, lovers. Those six whom we have mentioned, and of whom is written, The king has brought me into his chambers. Let us delight and rejoice in you. Let us savor your lovemaking more than wine. Drink and be drunk from that wine which satiates all. Rabbi Lazar said, All those below, for once these six are blessed, all those below are blessed. Rabbi Shimon said, All is fine, the mystery of the matter. Eat, companions above, drunk and be drunk, lovers below. Rabbi Lazar asked him, Who are these above, and who are those below? Rabbi Shimon replied, You're asking this? This is a lofty realm where they are in union and joy, never parting from one another. These are called companions, as is written. A river issues from Eden, and that river never part, and are in rapture, unity, joy. Drink and be drunk, lovers, those below, who are called lovers at certain time as we have established. Come and see. Concerning those higher ones, eating is mentioned and not drinking. Why? Well, one who has jugs of wine needs to eat. And since preserved wine appears there, eating is applied to them. Whereas concerning those lower ones, drinking is mentioned, for all the plants need watering from the deep stream. So for these, eating, and for those drinking, these are companions and those are lovers. A note on the higher and lower ones. The conclusion of the verse reads, "The companions drink and be drunk lovers." Rabbi Shimon explains that the higher couple is Chachma and Bina, which is inspiration and understanding or elaboration, who are companions, and they are filled with the wine of emanation, which must be balanced by eating. On the other hand, the lower couple, Tiferes and Shechina, who are lovers, require watering by the stream issuing from Bina, so drinking pertains to them. Tiferes and Shechina is the center organ and the bottommost organ, and they connect. The phrase preserve wine derives from a passage in the Babylonian Talmud Brachos in the name of Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, describing how in the world to come, the righteous will enjoy wine preserved in its grapes since the 6 days of creation. In the Zohar, this wine symbolizes both the deepest secrets of the Torah and the vintage emanations stored within, flowing from Bina, understanding, where is also symbolized by the mother. He said to him, "It would seem that lovers are in love. Why are they lower?" He replied, "Those who yearn for one another but are not always together are called lovers, whereas those who are always together, unconcealed and never parting, are called companions. So these are companions and those are lovers. These are in rapture, in unity constantly, whereas those are in yearning intermittently. This is consummation of all, so that assembly of Israel may be blessed, and then joy pervades all worlds." Rabbi Hizkiah applied this verse to sacrifices. For there the banquet brought before the king, which the masters of judgment also enjoy. They are all assuaged, and joy prevails everywhere. Rabbi Achar applied the verse to the time when the Shekhinah entered the dwelling, when all were immersed in blessings and joy. And the Shekhinah entered like a bride, coming under the canopy. Then Israel was perfected below and united with the Blessed Holy One on earth. As is said, "Have them make me a sanctuary, and I will dwell among them." Then those above and those below were sweetened. He called to Moses, Rabbi Yitzhak opened, "The blossoms have appeared in the land. The time of pruning has arrived, and the voice of the turtle dove is heard in our land." We have already established this verse, "The blossoms have appeared in the land," but this verse should be investigated. Since it is written, "have appeared in the land," why is heard in our land? One land should be enough. However, the blossoms have appeared in the land. The blossoms are those saplings that the Blessed Holy One uprooted and transplanted elsewhere, and they appeared as a sapling in water. A note on blossoming of the saplings: the 6 spheres from Chesed to Yesod, which begins as saplings. Chesed is kindness, Yesod is foundation, or the reproductive organ, and it's two of the 7 emotional spheres, which began as saplings in the higher Sephirotic realm and were subsequently transplanted to their normal position below Bina. All of these are below understanding, which is Bina. Yud-Kei Vav-Kei Elokim planted a garden in Eden. As is written, the trees of God are sated. Cedars of Lebanon that he planted. Rabbi Hanina said they resembled the antennae of grasshoppers, and the Blessed Holy One uprooted them, transplanting them in the Garden of Eden. Have appeared in the land, for this land is blessed by them fittingly. And who is she? Holy land, supernal land, land of Israel, surely. The time of pruning has arrived, time to uproot the dominion of princes of the nations, so that they would not rule over Israel when the dwelling was erected. And the voice of the turtle dove is heard in our land, the land below, which Israel inherited by the hand of Joshua. What is the voice? Hator, the turtle dove, the supernal Teyar, guide, who coupled with her when Solomon built the temple below. At that moment, the Blessed Holy One was adorned with his crowns, like a groom for his bride, as is written, O daughters of Zion, go out and gaze upon King Solomon, upon the crown that crowned him on the day of his wedding, on the day of his heart's delight. In the book of Agadah, it says, the voice of Hatar, the turtle dove, oral Torah. For written Torah is called simply Torah, while oral Torah is called Torah. As it said, Vayiqra, he called, Vayikra, he encountered. One is perfection, whereas the other not so. As for me, I've established, it has been said, and so it is. A note on the Agadah, Rabbi Yitzhak had interpreted Hatar, the turtle dove, as referring to Tiferes, balance. But according to his legendary source, Torah refers to Shekhinah, who is known as the oral Torah, the Talmud and the Mishnah, and the other commentaries. Whereas Tiferes is known as written Torah, or simply Torah. Shekhinah has no light of her own, only what she receives from the higher spheres, and this lack is signified by the lack of the letter He at the end of Torah. Similarly, the word Vayikra, he called, alludes to Tiferes, whereas the shorter word Vayikra, he encountered, lacking the aleph, alluding to Shekhinah. However, Rabbi Yitzhak insists that his interpretation is the correct one. On the contrast between Vayikra and Vayikra pertaining to Moses and Vayikra, Numbers, pertaining to Balaam. Balaam is the so-called evil Gentile prophet who came to curse the Jewish people, and he was in some ways Moses' equivalent in terms of prophecy. And they had different associations of these variations of etymologically similar words, Vayikra and Vayikra. Vayikra refers to a kind of chance encounter associated with a nocturnal emission. Vayikra is calling. There is more intention. Come and see, when Shekhinah descended to the dwelling, it is written, Kales Maaseh, Moses consumed. Kalait Moshe, Moses consumed. Kalais Moshe, the bride of Moses. Surely we have established this, but mystery of the matter. Kalais Moshe, the bride of Moses, this assembly of Israel. All is one entity, and this refers to the supernal king. Once the dwelling was erected, Moses returned outside, saying, It is not proper to enter without permission. Immediately he called to Moses, who called that bride. He called the one to whom this house belongs, she who controls the whole house. And God spoke to him, the one who is named Voice of Moses, the one to whom Moses is connected, likely referring to the Holy One, blessed be he. He called to Moses. Rabbi Elazar opened, Why have I come when there is no man? Why have I called when none responds? In my arm is my arm too short that I cannot redeem, said God through Isaiah. Happy are Israel, for wherever they are, the Blessed Holy One is with them and takes pride in them, as is written, Israel, in whom I glory. Furthermore, Israel perfects faith on earth, and Israel's perfection of his holy name. When the people of Israel below are perfected by their deeds, the holy name, as it were, is complete. When they are not perfected below and are sentenced to exile, the holy name, as it were, is incomplete above. For we have learned, one ascended, the other descended. Israel above ascended higher and higher, assembly of Israel descended below. They distanced themselves from one another, the Holy One was left incomplete. All because assembly of Israel is in exile. Yet, although the people of Israel are in exile, the Blessed Holy One is among them and precedes them to the synagogue, exclaiming, Turn back, O wayward children. I will heal your waywardness. But there is no one whose spirit is aroused. So the Blessed Holy One says, Why have I come when there is no man? Why have I called when none responds? Why have I come early and there is no man? Why have I called and there is no one whose spirit is aroused? Come and see on the day that the Mashkina, the dwelling, was completed. The Blessed Holy One came early and settled within. Immediately he called to Moses, and God spoke to him, informing him that Israel would sin before him, and this tent of meeting would eat mashkana, be taken as pledge for their sins and not endure. As is written, God spoke to him from the tent of meeting. God spoke to him. And what did he say to him? Concerning the tent of meeting, that it would be taken as pledge for their sins and not endure permanently. However, the remedy for this, when a person from among you brings an offering to God, here are offerings for you, protecting all. Rabbi Lazar plays with this word, in mashkena, taken as pledge. The temporary dwelling and the temple in Jerusalem, which later replaced it, are, in effect, a pledge offered by the people of Israel as a guarantee for their loyalty and devotions. If they sin, the temple will be seized and destroyed on their account. As is written, I will place Mishkani, my dwelling, in your midst. Do not read Mishkani, my dwelling, but rather Mashkani, my pledge. God informed Moses about this arrangement, but he also provided a means for Israel to prevent the destruction of the temple, at least temporarily, by offering sacrificial offerings as atonement. On Mishkan, dwelling, and Mashkon, pledge, see Tanchuma, Mishpatim, Vayikra, Pekude, and so on and so forth. End of portion.